What's a good trick? Gypsy thread. And I'll never forget doing gypsy thread on stage at the dinner theater where I used to work in Manassas, Virginia. I would do close up at the tables, and then eventually they let me go up on stage and give the announcements and do a little magic trick to settle the people down. And one of the announcements I would give is the announcement that the Harvest Buffet is now open. The Harvest Buffet. Big table full of food behind a curtain. And on Sunday afternoons and Wednesday afternoons, I called them the Blue Hair Matinees because they would bus in senior citizens into the dinner theater. And I'd have to give the same announcement every week. I'd say, ladies, we're about to open the Harvest Buffet. I don't want 300 little old ladies standing up on their walkers and shuffling towards, oh, we're going to have a traffic jam like we do every week. So enjoy a glass of champagne. You get one glass of champagne. You can pinch 2 busboys, and that's it. And Peggy will come to your table and invite you each to the buffet one at a time. Peggy, make some movement with your arms so they can see some movement over there. So remember, ladies, don't all get up at once. I want you to wait till Peggy comes to your table so we have an orderly procession, and there's plenty of food for everybody, so don't worry about it. Here we go, the Harvest Buffet. The music would start, the curtains would open, the lights would change, and 300 little old ladies would all get up at once and start shuffling towards the food, and Peggy's over there going, it never works, nope. One day I'm giving this announcement. I'm doing gypsy thread on stage, and I have to moisten these. Pardon me, it's a little disgusting, but it makes it stick. Watch. There we go. It's not very impressive, not even to hungry little old ladies. Let me just try this. So I'm giving the announcements, and I look at the back of the room, and there's 6 of our busboys carrying a dead woman out of the theater along the back wall. They had to hold her above their heads because that was the only way to get out of the theater because of the chairs and all the furniture. So I'm looking back there doing this trick, and there's these poor kids carrying a dead old lady. That's showbiz, folks. That's what you're signing up for. Anyway, gypsy thread was great. The way I would do it in the theater is, now you can't do this anymore indoors, but I would have a cigarette in my hand, and I would hold it this way so the flaming end would be towards the string, and just by touching, you get all these little Christmas lights appearing. You get a bunch of little Christmas lights appearing. So anyway, that's the gypsy thread. That's the way I used to do it. You got to find some thread that's easy to break. This is a little harder than some. Boy, this must have some Teflon in it. You know what? Let me just put it back together because I got another show coming up in September, big blue and gold banquet. I want to do this, so don't want to waste it. Okay, there's that famous story about Billy McComb who had to rush back out on stage because some act wasn't ready in a theater full of people, and he did the gypsy thread. I think it was a bunch of magicians. He broke the thread, put it back together, got a nice round of applause. And when he got off stage, one of the other performers said, that was very resourceful of you to have the gypsy thread, you know, prepared in your pocket so you could do that. And Billy McComb said, there was no thread, my boy. He just mimed the whole thing. He went out there and mimed the whole routine and got a big round of applause. They couldn't see the thread anyway in the giant theater. Gypsy thread's a great trick. I use basting thread. Now, I don't have any special work on the actual classic routine itself. I just prepare it by wadding up the thread. Basting thread is a very soft thread. It's not like your standard cotton sewing thread. It's a lighter thread, and it breaks very easily. Just ask any seamstress, go into a Joann Fabrics and ask for some basting thread. Once it's wadded up, I just give it a couple winds like that, so you have a little ball of thread right there. So to disguise that, I stick it right in the top of the spool, and I'm good to go. And when I need it, I just grab the extended end, pinch, and you pull that right out of the top, and you pinch it between your fingers. So there it is. This is standard handling. Go to Tarbell if you want to learn the gypsy thread. Or you can just continue watching. Here, I'll show it to you now. As I said, I've seen people use a candle flame. I've used a cigarette, and you get nice little endings. But of course, the classic ways just to break it. It's a very nice trick. I've seen many people do very theatrical things with this trick, maybe at the end of a show when they want to have a nice quiet little heart piece at the end of the performance where they sum up the day. I've used it in business meetings where I talk about the various things we learned during this conference. You know, these subjects all may seem disjointed, but there is a thread running through the theme of this meeting, and that thread is partnership or whatever it is, so that you can have a nice little script. Now, there are a couple ways to go here. One is to put the ball of string in your mouth and keep it there and just pretend taking it back out to moisten it. Kind of disgusting. I never minded doing that. The other way is to pinch here so they can see the ball, and you mash it against the other one. And then when you grab the string here, you let go, and they see it there now, but it's still in between your fingers. The actual ripped pieces are here, and you would grab the other end. So your hands look very empty, very symmetrical, and then you blow. It's such a great trick. Boom. Now, I had a little additional thing I would do. Now, you can ditch that. If you're standing behind a big counter, it's easy. Just throw it on the floor. But this was something I did because I realized that I could make the same sound of string breaking by bringing my hands together. Listen. And I click my nails, my fingernail against my thumbnail. And you have mime breaking the string. If, before doing that, I were to grab the string about 6 inches away, double it, and twist a little bit as I bring my hands together, you get a little snap, and then my nails aren't long enough today to get a loud snap. I shouldn't have trimmed them so short. But look at that. It looks like an end that you just broke, but that's just the twisted loop. I'll make another twisted loop. They're not looking at your hands close enough to see that you're just doubling up the string. They can't really see, but it looks like you're breaking it. And if they hear the sound in a quiet room or into a microphone, it's very convincing. But you're talking about something else. You're discussing something else. But what they're seeing are lots of little ends there, and you're miming breaking the thread. Just come up, break it, talk. And they see all those little ends, and it looks like you broke the thread again. And you have now a rapid restore. Boom. There's a little bonus ending there. There you go. I don't like that coin. It's copper. Ugh, it offends me. Also, it's from England. I like England, but I just don't like the coin. Look at that. There's a weird guy on the front. I wish it were an American silver coin. I wish. I know. I'll make a wishing well. Watch. Oh, I'll dip it in there. Give it a little coat of paint. Yep, there it is. An American silver dollar. I'll do that again. Watch the silver coin go in, and the copper coin comes out. I'll do it again. Copper goes in, make a wish, changes into silver. If I drop it through the hand, nothing's happening. There we go. Back to copper. It was just a dream. It's never going to happen again. I really loved Di Vernon's Spellbound. I used to practice that. And then I saw David Roth, and I was really taking with his magic, especially his edge grip work with hanging coins. Never seen that technique before. So I kind of combined the two ideas and came up with this little wishing well routine. To get a coin into edge grip, what you're going to do is reach across. You're pinching it with the index finger and thumb. Just reach across the face with your second finger and then bend it in like this. Now you re-grip with your thumb. Let go and then re-grip so it's touching the middle of the thumb, the joint there. Then open up that second finger, and then you have basically pinched in edge grip there. So again, like that, and you can roll it in and out of that position pretty quickly, in and out. So that's basically the idea. If you're holding another coin, it becomes almost invisible in your hand, the silver coin, perfectly natural. So the idea is that the left hand forms a loose fist. That's going to be my wishing well. When I drop the copper coin in, I shove all the fingers deep in, deep enough so that that silver coin can drop on my left fingertips in the curled hand like that. So I've released the big silver coin as soon as I get in there. and it rests on the fingertips of the left hand. Immediately, I bring this into edge grip, the copper coin, and I curl my fingers of my left hand slightly so I can grab that silver coin, and then it's an instant change. I keep this hand closed as if it still contains the copper coin for a minute while I show this hand empty. And using that edge grip, it's pretty convincing. You can turn your hand, swivel it this way, swivel it that way. Looks pretty empty. And then only after I have their attention over here, they think it's in there, I say, I'll do it again. And they're surprised by that. So let me do that first part again. Copper coin goes into the hand. The switch happens fairly quickly. You don't have to be quick. You can move slowly. I'll do it again. Now this time, the change is going to be even faster because what I do is I go in and I come out. I say if I dip it in one more time, and during that dip, I just drop the copper coin and I leave it behind. So I've dipped it in, dropped the copper coin, leave it behind. Now I can show the hand this way. So watch the silver coin, and on the way in, I get it into edge grip during that dropping down motion. So it happens on the way in. You simply pick up the copper coin, and this change is much faster than the first one. So it takes them by surprise. Now they really think the silver one's in the hand. Little do they know it's back in edge grip, and you say, I'll do it again. The third change is even faster than the first two because you're not dipping it in twice. You're simply going to leave the copper coin in finger palm. You're going to go in, leave the copper coin there, and just pull this hand back out and unroll that coin. You're going to get it back out of edge grip by opening up your second finger and pinch it with the index finger and thumb and let it roll against your index finger of your left hand. And there's the third change. Now they've seen this hand empty twice already, so now when I open my hands, I just gesture and I make sure that their eyeballs are below the level of the coin. And when I used to do this, they'd be seated usually at a table. I would do this as a table trick, but even if somebody's standing, now I'm 6'6", so my arms are normally well above most people's eye level. If I were doing it for a basketball team, I'd have trouble. I'd have them seated. But I go like that. You could drop that on the table or just show it in your hands. Now, if you're working without a table, I drop this through and catch it. 1, 2. On the way up, to drop it a third time, it gets classic palmed. And to do that, I push it to the second, third fingertips. And on the way up, I simply classic palm it. I mime dropping it. I just open my fingers above this hand and drop the copper coin, and it falls. Now, the angle is important here. You're going to do sort of a Ramsey subtlety, so it falls into the hand, but don't let them see the silver coin. You're going to keep your thumb covering the silver coin. So it's a bit of an angly dodge. It's better if they have their hand. You say, open your hand, and they'll open their hands, and you drop it through once. Let me use the table. Twice, and this third time you can classic palm it, pretend to drop it. And that was the wishing well routine. So I had another way I would do it at the tables. The basic idea is the same, but here's what it looks like. I would have a large jumbo coin in my sleeve. So I'd approach a table. That would be in this sleeve. The silver dollar would be in this sleeve, and I'd walk up going, hi, how are you? Now, you can gesture pretty cleanly, but this would be my first trick. So I would be able to say, do you have a quarter that I can borrow? Now, when they give you the quarter, you drop your right hand, and you get that first silver dollar in your hand. So they would give you the quarter. I get it in edge grip, and it's the same motion I showed you before. Watch the quarter. If this were a wishing well, which it's not, but if it were, I would wish for more money. I drop the quarter from edge grip into finger palm of my right hand. While I display the money, I also drop my left hand and get that large coin. I just hold it right here at my side. Now this coin, the quarter, has now dropped to my finger palm. So I'm free to do the edge grip one more time with this coin. I say, if you make a big wish, bring the hands together and pull out that jumbo coin. And it looks pretty good because now that coin is in edge grip, this coin is in finger palm, and you're holding the jumbo coin here, and this hand is empty. Now how do you get out of this mess? That was the hard part to figure out. Well, it turned out I didn't have to be that clever. Here's what I would do. The sequence was pretty simple. I would drop this in the outside pocket. Oh. And then I would reach inside and produce this one. Then I would drop this on the inside pocket, oop, and then come forward and reach in here and just push that quarter to my fingertips. It's a cheat, But they didn't care. They enjoyed that. It looked like it got smaller and then, coming in and out of my pocket, getting smaller. Then you have your hand the quarter back, and I could go on with my other tricks. So that's another way to do the wishing well. I'm going to do that again in performance just so we can try that with the proper timing. Let me drop these down my sleeves. Hi, I'm Magic Dave. How are you? Nice to see you. How's the mashed potatoes tonight? Oh, good. Can I borrow a quarter? Thank you. I'm going to make a wish. I wish for big money. Wow, I wish life was really like that. That's big money. That's a silver dollar. Let me make a big wish. Whoa, that's a really big one. That won't fit in your pocket. It barely fits in my, ooh, it went through. I got to get a better jacket. The material is too thin. Something happens when, here, you can have that back. Keep it handy though. I work for tips, so just keep it on the edge of the table. Here's a little trick with 4 coins. 1, 2, 3, 4. Watch. There's 1. There's 2. And the third one. Thank you. I was on a train in Germany with my good friend Thomas van Buren Lenge, close-up magician. He was the first close-up magician I met in Germany. He actually wrote to me when I was a young man. He said, "Come over to Germany and I will make a lecture tour for you." I was only 20 years old. He had seen my name in Michael Amar's lecture notes, and he just wrote me out of the blue. So I went over, I borrowed some money from my grandpa, and flew over to Europe, and spent 3 months over there traveling around on the trains, meeting magicians, going to magic conventions, and it was one of the greatest times of my life. That's when I met a lot of wonderful friends in Europe, and we're friends to this day. And on the train, I came up with this trick, and I showed Thomas, and he was so happy. He helped me with it, made some little improvements, and we called it floating matrix. So the first thing I did was something I used to do as a gag. I used to, at magic conventions, I used to do a card matrix. So I have a double here. I have 5 cards, and I would just put a double there. Now my hands get sweaty sometimes. So my hands are so big, it's like Sasquatch paws there. I would just classic palm the cards like this and move that one over. This was just a gag for magicians. I would come down here and classic palm another card. And then the last one like that. I'm having trouble with oh, there we go, all 4 cards. And that would catch them by surprise. But the real trick is the matrix trick. And basically, it's kind of like David Roth's version of chink-a-chink, where you're sliding the coins around, but the cards provide a nice cover. It's very simple. I'm going to pinch this card. I'll put all 4 cards over the first coin, pinch this card, and set it down that way. I come back, and it looks like I'm doing the same thing, but actually what I'm doing is I'm contacting that coin with my thumb. And I move the coin out of the way and put the card down on top of nothing. So you pinch that one, and you put that coin there. Now you come forward and separate the 2 cards, and look, the coin is here, and it's just sliding freely. And if you have the correct angle on this thing, and it is a little bit angly, obviously you can't have people on your sides, but if you have a few people in front of you, it's a very strong illusion. And especially the lower you are, if you can do this on the floor or on a low coffee table and they're up higher, it's a greater illusion, because when you get to this point and you're going to make the first coin, I'm going to pick up this coin and drop off that coin. If you can, once you get to this position, let go of the coin and raise your hand up an inch or 2, it provides a great illusion. Boop. And now, only when I move my hands out of the way do I lower and contact this coin. So I'm here, bring your hands up, beep, come down and show that that first coin is gone. Now I drop this card out of the way to my right and I show that coin. I'll move that up. I'm just sliding this coin underneath. Same thing, same move. Ba-dum, like that. There's the second one. Move that out of the way. And then the last one, very simple, nothing to it. It really catches people off guard. It's a nice little routine. Here's the nice thing about this. It'll work on just about any surface. I've done this on glass tabletops, on wooden bars, because you're sliding the coin, there's no picking up and snapping down. It makes a little sliding sound depending on what kind of coin you're using and depending on what the surface is made of. But if you have ambient noise in most restaurants or bars, just people talking or the music will cover that right up. If it's a quiet place, you'll need a soft surface. But for the most part, you can do this just about any location with any coins. I do it with silver dollars all the way down to pennies. It doesn't matter. I've done it with pennies and business cards. It's a very impressive little matrix. Hi, it's me again. Who'd you expect, Leonard Green? He's on the other set. This is 4 coins. It's a little trick. I'm going to put them down in a little pattern. That's called a square. Not anymore, more of a triangle. Wait a second, birds of a feather, flock together. The coins jump from place to place. It's a miracle, it's mystical. It gets stuck on my tattoo. It's still scabbing over. Got a bandage on it. Here you go, kids. Enjoy. Get lost. Those Marlowe tattoos hurt. It's the hairpiece was the, took a lot of time. One of my favorite routines when I was a kid was David Roth's Flight of the Silver Eagles, I think he called it. It was a coins across routine. Coins across is a great plot. And boy, there's some great methods now with shells and in the hands kind of stuff like this, 3 fly and so forth. I have a little problem with some of those 3 fly routines because I'm thinking, so you know, the coin vanishes, where did it go? Well, it didn't go up, I'd see it. Maybe gravity tells me that it's hiding behind this giant piece of Virginia ham here. It's kind of big enough to hide a coin. So I always like the classic palm because it seems to defy gravity. When David Roth would open his hands, they would almost open flat and he would bring them back in the natural position. It just felt really free and open. Whereas this position, I can kind of imagine things being held. The finger palm doesn't fool people as much as we'd like to think that it does. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I had a problem with the coins across plot too because there's always some sort of changeover necessary. When the coins go across one at a time, you have to really make them go across. Now I need a strategy. You have to do a shuttle pass or you have to do some sort of hang, ping, ching, and it turns into a guessing game. How many coins here? Now how many here? If one vanish, then that leaves how many here? And they're going, I don't know, I just worked an 8-hour day. Why don't you show me how many there, Mr. Magic, instead of asking me to do math? Just open your hand and show me. So it seemed a little tedious after a while. Then it occurred to me, wow, chink-a-chink, the classic old chink-a-chink where you pick up sugar cubes or bottle caps as Goshman did it, the pattern takes care of the problem. No, the layman never got together and said, I demand coins go from this hand one at a time to this hand. We want to see that. The layman of the world demanded of the magicians. That meeting never took place. It's a myth. You can do anything you want, which means that you could still get a coins across effect. Coins are still jumping from hand to hand, but the pattern does all the work for you. It gets the coins ahead for you. Here's the example. Coin is palmed in the left hand. 1 coin in each hand. Watch your angles there. I do a little Ramsey subtlety here. Push this to the fingertips and you're going to classic palm it as you close your hand and then drop this coin. There's the first one. Now I always try to avoid this. This is the spider. I call it the angry spider. Everybody does this who does coin magic. I used to too because your hand is always cramped. Nobody can palm perfectly. There's always a muscle cramp there and we don't know what to do with our hands once we have a coin palmed and we end up doing the spider like this and it's kind of disgusting. So, in this routine, your hand has a destination. Watch, it's just made a coin vanish. It's going to, I make an arc. I imagine a little arc like this. It goes boom, there's the moment of vanish, and it comes down the arc, and it has a destination. It's the next coin in the pattern. So it picks up this coin, and when you're holding something in your hand no longer looks cramped. So it's always bad, I think, to palm a coin and have your hand out there free-floating for too long without doing anything with it. So there's the first coin. Pick up the second coin, and now you're going to classic palm this one, and to do that you push it to the fingertips and squeeze it into the palm as you close your hands. A gesture, and this one drops from the classic palm into the left hand. Set 1 coin down here, and then pick up this coin. Now you have a coin palmed, and it's just the one ahead again. You're going to squeeze this coin into the classic palm, and drop that coin. That one jumps across. To the audience, it's just as satisfying as coins from hand to hand like this. Now this one, I pretend to drop into my sleeve. I'll just classic palm it. There's 3. They're seeing empty hand. Every other hand is seen empty. So it's the illusion of empty hands all the time. And the last one, now I'll do different strategies at this point. Sometimes I'll just thumb palm it. And if I'm wearing a jacket or a shirt with a pocket, I'll just drop it in my pocket as I gesture. I'll cross my sleeves, down my back, and I drop that right into the pocket as I gesture. Now it's stuck, and now you get the opportunity to show your hand empty and palm it and drop it at that moment. And that's the end of the trick. The other thing you can do at this point is ask them to hold the 3 coins, kind of like a sponge ball trick. I'll say, here, you hold these 3, and I just hand them 4, and they see the 4th coin here, and then you just vanish this, you know, in some way, do some sort of retention vanish, or you can do this. I used to blow on it like that. If your angles are right, blow, and it vanishes. It's very risky, though, and boom, there they all 4 are. So that's chink-a-chink in the hands with coins. What's that, young man? You need to wipe your nose. I have a hanky here for you. Let me, I don't want to touch it. Been wiping my own nose with it. I'll just hand it to you here. Let me just ram it down into my fist all the way in. Come and take it. Wait a minute. I'm just going to make it a little smaller, a little bit smaller. Yeah, so that I can jam it back into the silkworm where it came from. There. I love sushi. I give up. Whirly bird, I can't say it. Here's a thumb tip silk vanish. I use a thumb tip, that's what I do. I did this at the tables a bunch to make a silk vanish, and then I would make it appear somewhere else. Here's the way to do it. Yada-dee-dee-dee-dee. And the idea is to get it so that it will bunch up against the wand too, so it won't fall off. So you have to kind of arrange it so that just before you make the last push, you have enough room to get the wand in there, and you get some more material, and the whole thing jams on there so the thumb tip is stuck onto the wand. Now the thumb moves up to the top of the wand because you're going to steal it out the back of the hand like that. You do that little misdirection. I've pushed this way, and it looks like I'm just going to push this way. So you're going to turn the hand over at the same time you flip the wand around. So it kind of looks natural. Push here. See how my fingers open up a little bit? That's going to cover a little bit as I come around here and push there. So the wand has the thumb tip on the end, hidden behind your sleeve. Boom, boom. Several things you can do at this moment. You could, if you wanted to, from here, just move it right up under your arm, and the silk vanishes, and it's right here. Be careful because there's people behind you in a restaurant, and that's what they see, and that's not good. You could do that because that allows you to keep it on the end of the wand and toss it from hand to hand and reproduce it if you like. What I used to do is a complete vanish. I would push here, and as I make a slight body turn, this would dip down. I'm going to show you exposed view here. This would dip down and push into my pocket like that, and then I would push down and pull the wand against the edge of the pocket, and the thumb tip would be knocked off, wiped off right, and stay into the pocket. So this would happen with a slight body turn, wipe it off into the pocket, come up with a wand spin, and we're in that position again where we love to be. The method is over, you're clean, but as far as they're concerned, nothing has happened. You've just kind of pushed this silk in your hand and you're waving your wand over top of it, and then slowly you can milk the idea that the wand causes the silk to disappear. That's called the whirlybird silk vanish. Hey, when you're done with that beer, can I borrow your bottle? Or we'll use my own. I'll just use mine. Hey, examine the bottle. Check it out. That's enough. Does anybody have a coin I can borrow, like a 50-cent piece from Europe? I'll use yours. Sir, would you hold out your hand? You don't even need to do that. Watch this. 50-cent piece from Europe, bottle of beer. Bam! Thank you. Jumps right inside. I want you to take that home and put it on your mantelpiece. Put it above your fireplace with the ashes of Grandma. And that's an impossible object. You can keep that for the rest of your life. You're welcome. Now I'll show you a trick with a piece of rope. Does anybody have a piece of rope that I could do a trick with? What's that? Get the coin out of the bottle. Did you see how hard it was to get in the bottle? Do you realize that you could sell this on eBay for $900? What do you mean get it out of the bottle? It's an impossible object. That's a one-of-a-kind piece of art. It's just 50 cents in a bottle. If I take it out, all you have is a bottle and a piece of 50-cent piece. They always say, put it in the bottle, take it out of the bottle. It can't be done. I don't have that kind of tool. I don't have the technology. If I did, here's what it would look like. Okay, open your hand. I'm going to go with what you say. Open your hand, and I'll take my magic wand. 1, 2, I hope this works. 3, there you go. Now you have what you wanted, your dream come true, an empty bottle and a 50-cent piece. I love coin and bottle. I thought that was a great trick. I always did it in the restaurants and bars where I worked. It just seemed like just a great impromptu miracle. Didn't seem possible. And I wasn't real happy with some of the handlings, but I eventually came up with this handling that I was real happy with. Let me go through it with you. Obviously, there's your trick coin, folded up. I put it in the third finger, halfway up, ready to go. Now, the way I would do this trick is I would do it at an opportune moment, meaning I knew there were going to be bottles around. So during the course of another trick, I would point to someone and say, when you're finished with that beer, keep the bottle. I want to try something really cool. We'll see if it'll work. I don't know. But just keep the bottle. Let me know when you're done. A Heineken bottle or something like that. So I would do some more magic, and then when they would go, hey, my bottle's ready, I could kind of see, I'm keeping my eye on them. So I see when they're about ready, and so my hands would be in my pocket, this coin would be folded, ready to go, and by the time they said, hey, I'm done with my bottle, I might ignore them the first time and get ready, and then kind of have some other props and be having another. So I'm ready to go. I know that he's trying to get my attention with the bottle, and I go, what's that? I'm ready with the bottle. Oh, okay, did you get all the beer out of it? So it's important to be way ahead of them when you do this. I want this to feel like an impromptu miracle, and this goes to my whole theory about close-up magic. I think it should feel the first time and the only time this is going to happen to the audience. It should be an organic experience, because if it feels rote or scripted, they just don't respond the same way. There was a magician who had a routine with a miniature bottle and a funnel and a pair of tweezers, and they had a whole routine with the little miniature liquor bottle, and there were a couple little jokes and puns in it. And just the fact that you're bringing out these props to do this trick proved to them that, well, you do this all the time, so it's not that special, is it? So this is one of those routines where I was really trying to create a moment of, oh my God, that's really impossible. So that we all know it's their bottle, beer is still dripping out of it. I need a big coin. What do you got? Give me a handful of change. What's the biggest coin you got? And of course, I'll go for the coin matching the one in my hand. I always used an American quarter. Of course, lately, now they have 50 different state quarters, so it's kind of tough to do, unless you want to have 50 different state gimmicks, behind the bar. So euros work well because they're all the same. Now, to cover the sound of this coin going in the bottle, I would tap it on the side a little bit like this while I ask somebody to, open their hand or watch closely. A couple different ways to do this. One way is, of course, the classic way where I ask somebody to put their hand out, and I would just put this, I would cover the bottle, and they would put it right in their hand. That's very strong. If they're holding the bottle in their hand, and then I would take the coin, and I would do a pass, and just pretend to put it in the other hand, and bang the bottom of the bottle, and it's in there. Sometimes I would do this. It's the striking vanish, which we talk about in another part of the DVD, but it's, I'm just going to toss the coin into this hand that's holding the bottle, and as I smack the empty fingers with the bottle, the other coin will appear from the neck, and it looks like this coin goes right through. It's a very good illusion. Look at that. That's a miracle to them, and everything can be examined. Now, I have their coin over here. I want to make this point. I show that the coin is in the bottle, I show it around, it's not coming out, they can all see that very clearly, and then I would do this, and it may seem bold, but it goes back to something that Jean Hugard wrote in the Expert Card Technique. It's the idea of casualness and innocence. The less importance you place on this coin in this bottle, the less importance they place on it. If I'm very precious with it and not letting anybody touch it, they really want to see it. So if you take the opposite tack, if you take the opposite psychology, and here's what I would often say, I'd say, there you go, there's your coin in his bottle, but I'm going to let you keep it. Take that home, put it on the mantelpiece. It's an impossible object. Now I might pick up another prop and start to do something else. I keep this coin handy and take it here, shuffle the cards, I want to try something else. And they're going, really? I can take it home? So they don't spend time going like this, digging at it here, because they don't want to look stupid. They go, oh, I have the rest of my life to look at this. And that made a big impression on them. When they thought that that was settled and over, then their mind starts churning. That was a miracle. They're really taking that home. Their mind settles on the fact that they've witnessed something that's impossible. Then I might actually, depending on the circumstances, again, this is all kind of, I make it up as I go along. If they start digging too much at the coin and I feel like they're going to discover it, I'll make some excuse to go, now, if you need to get it out in an emergency, you have to be careful, and then I would go into the final phase. But if they left it sitting there on the bar, I ditch that coin and I go on with something else, and I leave it there for 2 or 3 more routines. And that makes a huge impression on them. So I'm ready to go with whatever happens. If they say, take it back out, which is funny because they would often say that. They go, take it out. And it just always tickled me because I say, wait a minute, I've just given you something that doesn't exist anywhere else on earth. A bottle with a coin in it that's too big to fit. But you don't want that. You want an empty bottle and a little 50-cent piece, as if you're not going to be able to get that 50 cent. You need to spend it now. Is that the point? And they will take it out. And so I would. So when it's time to take it out, and even if they haven't asked me to take it out and I'm ready to leave the table, I might say something. Now, just don't spend, if you need to spend that in case of an emergency, don't use a hammer. It's going to get glass everywhere. Now, I have the coin back in finger palm, and I do the standard removal, which is I hold both hands and I shake it. It might take 1 or 2 shakes, but it usually will just slide right out into this hand. Immediately, cup this hand and shake that coin against the bottom. So I've done this. I said, you can't shake it out that way. Don't use a hammer. I don't have the glass cut. See what I did? I just dropped the coin in my pocket. I was so bold. I just drop it in I don't have the glass cutting capability to surgically remove it. Now here's what I would do. I would move the glass along the coin, turn it around so that now the coin is under the glass. The left hand comes in and the pinky holds the coin against the bottom of the glass. There's usually a little well, a little impression there, so you can hold that up against the bottom of the glass. And I would ask somebody to hold both hands out, take the magic wand, and I would drop it once, twice. On the 3rd time, the coin falls right through the bottom of the bottle. I would put the bottle in their hand, set the wand down, and walk away slowly. And of course, they always say, put it back in. And I say, you're the one who told me to take it out. Anyway, I always tried to make a big deal out of this and turn it into a huge miracle, and I usually succeeded. This is one they always talked about. What you got there, buddy? Got a pen? Can I borrow that? Oh, what's that sound? I know what that is. You got a rebate on the pen. That's right. Every time you buy the pen, you get a few cents off. They just keep it right in the cap for convenience. What? What do you mean that seemed magical to you? That's because my name is David Comper-Blangel, professional magician. Stare right into my thumbs. Okay, here's the explanation of the rebate trick. You need an ink pen, which you borrow, and you need a thumb tip with some coins in it. Try not to use the rubber or the soft plastic thumb tips. This is a hard plastic thumb tip. You might have to do a little looking around. But try to find a hard plastic thumb tip. I know that the Fun Magic Shop in Albuquerque, New Mexico has them in stock. I know that for a fact. What you want to do is drop 2 small coins These are little penny coins in Europe, or you can use 2 dimes in America, into the thumb tip. Now, if I jam my thumb in there, it's going to press against those dimes and not going to make any sound. So you take another coin that's slightly smaller. In America, I would use a nickel. And here, this is 5 cents also. And it's a little bigger. And what it does, it forms a separate chamber inside. So no matter how hard I jam my thumb in there, I'm always going to get my little impromptu rattle bar right on the tip of my thumb. And it makes a very distinctive sound. It makes a great sound. There you go. If you get it just right. It sounds like metal on plastic. It sounds like what coins would sound like if they were somehow inside the guy's pen. I did this in high school. And it's great to do if you're not wearing any rings, even a watch, and you have a t-shirt or naked or whatever you want. There's no metal around. There's no other thing that they can see that's going to be making the sound. Now, as far as the thumb tip goes, always point it right at them. That's basically the idea. Don't do this. You look like E.T. Just point it right at them and maybe keep another finger on top of it whenever you can. Just don't feel too guilty about it. I'm pretty free and open with the thumb tip, and that's what hides it, my casualness. Borrow a pen. Now, don't hold the pen between thumb and finger because there's no friction there, and it just is going to go like that every time. And friction is your friend in magic. You will find that out sooner or later. Friction is your friend. I'm going to hold here and then clip there. That way, I know it's not going to fly away out of my hand. You can make that great rattle sound right next to their ear. So I would say, hey, oh, that's one of those rebate pins. What are you talking about, Williamson? Your pen, you get a rebate every time. I'm going to beat you up after gym class. Okay, but before that, can I just see the pen? And they would give me the pen, and I would shake it next to their ear, and they would do that simian sort of chimpanzee, with the bottom lip kind of, You're going to be late for practice, so let me show you how this works. What you do is you grab the base of the pen cap, and at the same time, you're going to jam the thumb tip up into the fingers, like that. Now, you want to isolate this action. You don't want to just pull your hand away and they came out of there real fast, because they could have come from anywhere. They could have been on top of your head or something. So you want to isolate that moment, and you can have them cup their hands, which is nice if you don't have a table. Have them, or you can do it in your own hand. Now, you simply replace the cap back on the pen and put the thumb back in the thumb tip. And then, oh crap, that always happens. That's why you have to practice in front of a mirror. You know, you put the cap back on the pen and the thumb tip back on the thumb, and then you can give them their pen back and you're done. If you want to put the money back in the pen, the way to do it is to hold the pen horizontally with the thumb hidden. As this hand approaches the left hand, then you're going to jam that thumb forward and make sure the base of the thumb tip lines up with the base of the cap, and pull them both off at the same time. Now look at that little periscope. See the clip in the pen cap sticks above my fingers? That's so they can place it. Now, watch your angles on this, but if you hit it just right, it really looks like and sounds like you're dropping money inside that cap. I just love that moment. Replace the pen cap, but extend your thumb and stick it back in there. You can get one more little shake before you hand it back to them, and walk away slowly. And when you get around the corner, run for home, because they're all going to pile on you and beat the crap out of you. I've played around a lot with the idea of this impromptu rattle bar where you get this sound that's coming from nowhere. I was trying to think of other things to do with it. There's an old gag where you have a coin in your hand and you snap it against the side of a glass. If your cousin tells you a joke and you're smiling, they see your teeth and ha ha, oh, they hear it snap. Let me try it on the plate. This always, Mom, I'm hungry. Ah! And you're just snapping the coin and getting a nice snap sound. If you do it on the side of a straight glass, you can. Anyway, that's the idea. So I was thinking on a cell phone is fun, because you have the thumb tip on and you borrow somebody's cell phone to have the coin in your left hand, and you get it ready and you're going to snap it against the bottom of their phone. You go, oh, touch screen. Oh, darn it. And then you make that sound. See, I think something inside kind of snapped there. Is it supposed to make that sound? And if you hold that next to their ear with their $500 iPhone, they get very upset, and you'll get worse than a wedgie. So be prepared to run. This is a little vanish of a coin. I'll do it over my shoulder so you guys can see it here. About a $50 size coin. Watch. You're watching too close. I'll pull up my sleeve so you can see this. I think we got it. I'm not sure. There it is. This is a vanish of a coin using a deep back clip. And the only thing I wanted to show you here, I've been doing this a lot lately, and it's a nice vanish. It's the timing of the thing. We talked earlier about creating an offbeat and finding motivation in all your movements, and this one has worked very well for me. So I toss the coin into the hand using that gesture, like that. Just toss it up, which is the movement I'm going to imitate in a minute. Toss it up. Did you see it go? And they say, yeah, no, yeah, whatever. And I show them it hasn't gone yet. Now watch this. I'll pull up this sleeve. Pull up this sleeve. I throw the coin in the other hand in order to pull up this sleeve. And that's when I'm looking at saying, well, you're looking too close. That's the problem. So in that pulling the sleeves up during that relaxed moment, that's when I do the deep back clip move. And to get into deep back clip is, I'm going to put my thumb right here on the edge of the coin. It's in the middle knuckle of the middle finger. My third ring finger moves in towards the palm, and then my thumb pushes that coin towards the pinky. Now the pinky and the thumb now have that coin. And what happens is I let go, and the pinky is going to pull it, roll it through the cracks of those fingers until it's barely pinched, until I've reached that point right there where the fleshy part of those two fingers holds it out the back of my hand. So your hand can look very empty, and you can kind of open those two fingers if you have the correct angle, and your hand has a very open feel. So that's the deep back clip right there. And it doesn't take long to get into that position. Should happen pretty quickly from here to there, like that. I'll do it again. From here to there. All right? Some people have big windows in their fingers, and it might be tougher to find the position. To roll it back into position, into the other side of the hand, from this deep back clip, the pinky now goes way behind the coin, grabs it and rotates it around the third finger and brings it back in here to finger palm, like that. So the movements are this. I'll do it from this angle so you can see over the shoulder. I show them a coin. I toss it in the hand. A little tension. It hasn't gone yet. Pull up this sleeve. That's because you're watching too close. Deep back clip now as I turn my fingers away. They can't really see the coin, but they know it's there. And then it's that move. When you come over like this, it's already behind your hand, but they don't know that. And it's that little pop that fools them. They almost see it go up into the hand. When they see this empty hand, they know there's nowhere else it could be. So it's a very deceptive idea. Squeezing, making some funny motions, and now it's gone. And to bring it back, as I turn my hands over, I rotate that coin around to the front. And if you want to bring it back this way, you can. And that looks like this from the other side. You're here. I'm going to rotate it around and just push it into view like that. Or you could just keep it going and walk out of the room. Just back out slowly. Say, see you later, guys. It's been real. Hi, friends. Feeling lonely? Well, you came to the right place. Dave's Magic Bar. I'll fix you a drink, and then you won't be lonely anymore. You'll wake up in my trailer, and, well, we'll talk about that later. Let me show you a trick first to get you softened up. This is something with 4 coins and a 2 of diamonds. Ignore the fact that it's a 2 of diamonds. It could be any card. Watch the first coin. Under the cloth. Oh, this is going to hurt. Bam. Yep. I don't know what the thread count is on this handkerchief, but the coins pass right through. I'll do it again. Watch the second one. Right through. You can hear it. Feels good, doesn't it? It's kind of satisfying. Sir, would you help me, please? Yeah, come forward. I'm going to ask you to cover those 3 coins. Go ahead. Yeah, just reach across, put your hand right there. Don't let them out. Watch the 4th coin. Are you ready? What is your name, sir?
Jose.
Jose, that's correct. Watch this, Jose. This is going to pinch just a little bit, so just breathe like this. Short breaths. Oh, here it comes. I feel it. Oh, it's crowning. I see something. Here it comes. Oh, look, I see a head. It's a girl. It's Miss Liberty. Miss Liberty. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, all 4 coins. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You have soft hands. We're going to need a bigger thumb tip. It's not going to fit. All right. Sympathetic coins, classic trick. This is the way I would do it in the restaurants. And I ended up loving this trick so much. This was often the only coin trick I would do for years. I did it with a tablecloth, and if there was no tablecloth, I would use a napkin. 4 coins. Oops, I mean 5 coins. To me, this is the essence of the one-ahead principle. And when I just stopped worrying and embraced the simplicity and the beauty of the one-ahead principle, really magical things are possible. I remember in the late 70s, I used to see Al Schneider, who invented Matrix at magic conventions. He was so slow and so deliberate. And when those coins jumped from place to place, it was real magic. He wasn't afraid to use that one-ahead principle, and he didn't have a lot of flashy things to prove. There were no coins under the cards or anything like that. There wasn't a lot of fast flipping around or things sliding. Just a simple, beautiful effect, and I was inspired by him. So this was my little coin assembly I did, the only one I did for years. And you don't have to put the coins in a square. I just have a 5th coin. And the way I would do is I would start with all 5 coins stacked, and I love lying to people. I'm good at lying. It's a trick with 4 coins and a playing card, and just by miscalling the number of coins, you begin clean. So you just leave one in finger palm as you place the coins out, and you say, now look, you don't have to put them in a grid. You're going to cover 1 coin, and here's the only move that I really used was I would slide my fingers back. You're sliding the card forward over the coin is what you're doing really. And that's the only move. They see the back and they see the front. And it was pretty clean. The coin stays hidden. That's the only move. So now there are 2 coins there, and it's slow and deliberate. And I just love the idea of dropping this coin into these fingers. I'm just dropping the coin into these fingers as I move forward with the hand. It's just right there to accept it. And now the coin is held here. This hand continues forward, and all I'm going to do, let me move this, is flip this coin over so I get a nice sound. Clink. And that happens under the card, so you see the card pop a little bit. Now, you're still holding here, and you can hold here as long as you need to. And then when you flip this coin over, just quietly bring this hand forward. And there's the first one. And you can pick it up, get into position to show it again before you do the next coin. Again, very slow, very deliberate. Let the one-ahead principle do all the work. You don't have to do a lot of fancy sleight of hand or proving anything. Just lay that right on top of the coin. There's 3 coins. For the last coin, this is a little subtlety I learned from a Paul Harris routine. I have a lady cover the coins, and as she's going, I just helpfully scoop the coins under her hand. But it's such a clean way to add a coin under her hand. They forget you even touched those coins with the card. When there's 4 coins under their hand, they are really surprised. And again, in this era of flashy visual magic with lots of magnets and gimmicks, it's surprising how strong these simple things are if done simply and deliberately. Now the last one, of course, is very simple. Here's what I would do often with this one. You can do lots of things. My shirt tail's hanging out. But what I would do is, as I lift this up, this would just go into my pocket under the edge of the table. I would bend down like I'm looking. It would just go in my pocket so I could end clean. But you can do anything. You can stick it in your hand. You can leave it on the table and then pick it up later. But I just love the fact that I would just stick this in under my pocket, into my pocket, come forward, and then I would pinch one of the coins. And of course, you can do that rude presentation where it's like she's having a baby. Push, push, push. Always got to laugh. It's a girl. look, Miss Liberty. All 4 coins, and then you just step away and everything can be examined and you end clean, which is of course how we like it. Hi, I'm Dave. I do magic with money. Do you have any money on you? What's that? 50 cents. Big spender. You big goofy guy. Look at the other side of it. That's pretty. I wish our money was that pretty. This one has a target on it, like William Tell. If I had an arrow, I would shoot it right there. Watch. Bing. Whoa. What? Come on. Tell me you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. That's just weird, and there's something wrong with your money. I'm going to hand that back to you. I want you to keep it as a souvenir, and I don't want to hear from you again. My friend Michael Amar was really good to me when I was young. I was 15 and I entered a magic competition in Galion, Ohio. And Mike, no, how old was I? Yeah, I was 15. Mike was 18, and I just met him there at this convention. This West Virginia kid with blonde hair, and he was just wearing a little vest and some sleeves rolled up, and he was making silver dollars vanish from his bare hands. It was the most incredible thing, and I followed him around like a puppy. I thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And we became good friends and shared a lot of magic secrets. He taught me a lot about sleight of hand. And this was based on one of his tricks. It was called the pencil through the quarter, and he had a very nice way handling of it and a really cool switch at the end. I re-engineered it a little bit, and I do it differently from him, but I begin the same way that he began. He published this in one of his books or magazines. So you borrow a coin, a quarter. I'm over here in Portugal. We're going to use a 50-cent piece. But you need obviously a gimmick, a cigarette through coin gimmick. I use the kind that uses the spring, not the kind that uses the rubber band latch. I use the spring kind. There it is. The gimmick is pinched with the gimmick side up. The coin is pinched with the gimmick side up in the right hand. And it's a very natural position to hold your hand when you're holding a pencil. Find a pencil that's going to work, that will fit through the hole. I used to have these pencils I found in a novelty shop that had flocking, some soft felt on the outside of them, and they looked great, sliding right through the hole. So you borrow a coin, and now you're going to switch this coin for the other one in the most natural way I've ever seen. It is Bob Elliott's flip switch, he called it. I think he published it in Apocalypse or Richard's Almanac or one of those places. Bob Elliott was a wonderful magician from Long Island, New York. He was a real friend to any magician who came up in that area, and he really encouraged all the young magicians. So what a nice display. You're showing the coin like this. You're going to pinch the front edge of it and turn your right hand over towards yourself. And what you're really doing is dragging the gimmick around those fingers. It's pinched between these two fingers. You're dragging it around the front of the third finger, or the second finger of the left hand, and you're going to leave it with the tail side up. You're still holding the other coin over here. So that's the switch, and it's perfectly natural because it looks like you're showing this side, you're turning the coin over and showing that side. While you show this coin, watch what my fingers do with my right hand. I'll re-pinch that in the same grip that the gimmick was in. There we go. Pull this into position, and then, bam, just shove it right in halfway through. That's the way I would do it. Going right through the center. That's a miracle. I don't leave it there too long. And now comes the final switch. And Michael had a really nice switch where he clipped here, and I think as he grabbed the pencil, he would pull the pencil away from this hand, and then that coin would be left behind as he pulled the pencil out of the gimmicked coin. Well, I streamlined it even further than that, because what I do is, as I approach with my right hand, I twist the pencil so the gimmick side is up, the flap is on the top. So now I've screened everything, but the gimmick is now right beside, it's still on the pencil, but it's right beside the real coin. Simply let go of the pencil at this point and re-grip the actual coin. Now my right hand just slides up and away, and you leave the real coin behind. Now what you want to do is look right at him, and you have to aim this right at the spectator so that they're seeing the edge of the coin as the pencil goes up. So it really looks like it's coming out of the center. The actual gimmick is still on the pencil, but you're screening that with your fingers. And if you pull that straight up, you don't have to be fast, just be smooth. And I'm telling you, the illusion of that pencil coming out of that coin that's in your hand is perfect. And when you hand that to the person, they always are completely stunned because they've just seen the pencil come out. I'm going to do that switch again at speed. So the pencil is through the coin, and now you pull it out. Yeah, I wouldn't spend that for a few days. And this would go right back in my jacket pocket, and you're done. If you like, you can steal the coin off of the pencil. And the way I would do that is I'm in this position. I would squeeze the coin. This hand would come up, and I would kind of scratch my eyebrow a little bit like that and just steal it right off the pencil or the pen. And then I might do a few moves with this, a little flip stick move or something, just to take the heat off the coin, you know, and say, well, it's a trick pencil that folds up inside of itself. The problem with that is you're kind of dirty. You're also being pinched by coins. So more often than not, all I did was, it was such a beautiful switch, I would pull the pencil out, drop it in my pocket, and hand the coin back. And there we are, clean again. Boom, boom, boom. Where did I put that money? Where did I put it? It's around here somewhere. That's one. I knew it was in there. There's another one hiding around here. No. Ow. Wait. That's it. Come on. Come on. Come on. There's two. That's three. Mom sews them in there so I don't lose it when I go to school. Oh. Okay, time to hide it again. I don't want to get robbed by that bully named Luis. They just moved into town. Weird family. That leaves two. This one I'll save till last. I'll just set that on the floor. This one goes next. Hey, how'd that get over there? There's the third one. Anyway, a little squeeze, a little blow. Sorry, Mr. Smith. That's one. That's two. Getting pretty good at this. Oh, golly, I think I knocked it all the way down in. There it is. Mom! Ah. I was reading Discovery of Witchcraft. Now, actually, I'm sure that someone showed me this principle, but it is in Discovery of Witchcraft. I'm not sure where I picked it up, but it's a great little principle. If you have a coin palmed, you can make a sound by tapping it with the other end of a table knife or a wand or something. The way I originally used it was at the dinner table when my cousins came over every Sunday. I say, yeah, I had some work done on my teeth. What do you mean? New enamel. Huh? Yeah. That's the good stuff. Mom paid extra. They would pick up their knife and go, crack. Ow, Jesus. And I said, I love magic. So this little routine I used to do at tableside. 3 silver dollars palmed in the hand, and I got to the point where I could drop one coin precisely like a coin dropper every time, like this. Watch. It's called muscle control. Whoops. Ah, crap. Anyway, if that happens, you might want to pull this coin back a little bit and give it a little more room. All right. What the heck? Now that's new to me. Not sure what to say about that. Wow. We're going to have a whole separate DVD on this. The hell? All right. That's not part of the trick, folks. Luis D'Amato has secrets that he hasn't told, apparently. I'm going to take the wand in the other hand, and I'm going to drop this coin and leave it on the fingertips of the left hand. So you're just transferring the wand, you've left the coin over here. I use my belly, slide the wand down so it's in position to tap. So you do some taps up the sleeve. Now keep that one finger kind of hidden there in the fingers. Tap, 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 no noise, and then everybody hears it right there. One coin is dropped to the fingers, and then you're going to kind of work it out. I just kind of put it behind the cloth, and I work it out a little bit at a time. Don't just produce it nicely. Make it there. That's one. Now the next one is on the knee, and you can hit the leg until you find the coin. There it is. And now I'm going to produce this one. I just lay it against my leg. I grab some material and make it look like it's being worked out of the material there. There's 2 and 3, and you can produce the third one somewhere over here. Okay, now you're going to vanish the 3 coins, and you have to remember this was 1970s technology here. There are a lot of great coin vanishes now, but this is the old school. This is the way I used to do it. I was just classic palm. I pretend to take it. I do the wand spin, and what really fooled them was the sound again, because if you pretend the coin's in your hand, and again, don't keep your hand closed like that. Keep it open, bounce the coin around, give the illusion of weight, move it around with your thumb, and then you add sound to it. It's a whole nother dimension. That's a convincer. Boom, gone. Now, click pass. I toss one coin, and I palm that coin as I pretend to toss it. And that's just a simple click pass. There's nothing fancy here. I toss one, I pretend to toss the other. It's just a palming it against this one. I show this one, tap it, save that for last, tap this one, which is actually over here. It's gone. And now the last one, just a simple vanish. You can either do that kind of vanish, or I like to flip it over this way. You remember Goshman? He could make a coin vanish. It looked like it was, his hands would be held 24 inches apart, and you could almost swear you'd see the coin flying through the hand. If you get the angle right, that's a very convincing vanish. So that's what I do. I just kind of go like that from a distance. Even with all that junk in your hand, you can still do the wand spin, make it look empty, and that one vanishes up the sleeve. There's the first one. I do the transfer now. I'll take the wand in the other hand and drop a coin off, pull it into the position. There's the second one. And the third one, just to break it up a little bit, I would always, ow. You can produce it from behind your knee. I used to just take off my shoe and reach in there. I knocked it too hard, whatever. Anyway, so that's a little thing I used to call talking coins. Well, welcome to Shea Williamson. I'm your wandering magician, and I was wondering if you'd like to see a little magic. Doesn't translate. Have you seen the psychics who can look at an object and make it bend just by, oh, sorry. We'll just tell them that he did that. That was a mistake. I'll fix it. I don't really bend it. That's an optical illusion, folks. That's what an optical illusion looks like. Here's another optical illusion. Let's see if this one works. Wow. Okay. There you go, Louisa. You can examine that thoroughly. There you are. Hey, everybody. It's Uncle Dave. We're going to bend some spoons. Damn right. This is a trick I've been doing a long time. Who started it? Dr. Sawa from Japan. He started the whole trend with the fake spoon. People often ask, Dave, how do you match the spoon gimmick with the spoon in the restaurant so well? Well, that's a secret I haven't told anybody for 30 years, but okay. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to thumb palm the spoon head. And I made the big mistake. Again, when I was young and starting out in magic, I was sitting in my bedroom, you know, and I had my dad's leisure suit on and a little bow tie. My hair was split down the middle with one piece, and I had freckles I don't know anyway, I would practice these tricks in my room, and I thought to myself, I know, I will have this piece thumb palmed as I approach the table. That way, I can go right into the routine, and I won't have to ditch anything or go into my pocket and steal it. It'll be streamlined. It's going to fool everyone. That's when I approach my first table. Hi, I'm Wandering Magician. Would you like to see a little magic? And they go, yes, hi, how are you? I'm Steve from down the street. Hi, Steve, how are you? Top it. I didn't have a top it, so I was screwed. So I don't do that anymore. I just have it in my pocket now. And I have the spoon examined, and while they're, I'll say, let me borrow a spoon, and I'll reach into my pocket, and you just have some excuse. I go, excuse me, I do snuff, since I'm from the 1800s. I don't know. But anyway, you begin with a thumb spoon tip. Now, my little sequence is, it's one of the strongest things I do at the tables. And unfortunately, it's probably the strongest thing I do because they keep asking me to do it over and over again, even in the middle of other tricks. I'll look at the spoon, and I'll look up and I say, have you seen the psychics that can look at an object to make it bend? Watch. There's nothing clever about this at all, but you're just going to bend the spoon against your leg. And I have, later we'll have a close-up of my leg. I have a bruise the size of a $50 right here from 30 years of bending spoons against it. It's callous, it's hard as, listen. That's my bruise. It's not the other part of the spoon. Okay. So I bend the spoon while I point to my head. Good misdirection. Then I bring the spoon up and I figure out who's going to be tipping me at the table. There's Dad. I'll make sure he gets the best view. And slowly, and I set the spoon down and step away, and they go crazy because they didn't see it. That looks like magic to them, and you should just walk away now and get in your car and drive home because nothing's going to be stronger than that. So now I unbend the spoon. So I unbend the spoon, regrip, and I do the oldest trick known to mankind, the old, look at me, I'm bending a spoon trick. But it just works well right here because it's part of the same trick. Because I'm unbending the spoon anyway, I just continue and pretend to bend the spoon again. Now, at this point, I'm going to drop the gimmick to the fingertips like this and drop the spoon to a 6 o'clock position, bing, like that, and bring my hands together. And as the hands come together, I slide the real spoon head underneath my fingers. So my index finger moves out of the way, so this goes under my hand, and you can display this. And it looks like the same spoon. So let me do that again. I'm here, I drop it. As I approach the table and catch their eye, say something meaningful, I'm in this position. Let me say one more thing. Here's a little touch. I've bent the spoon. Now I'm going to unbend it. I don't always unbend it back to its original, oh, that looks horrible. But anyway, I leave a little bit of an angle on it, more angle than there was before, because now when it goes under the hand, you get a flatter appearance. Because there's more angle in this spoon, it's going to appear flatter at this point, like it's the same spoon. All right, so now I'm in this position, and I discovered that if my index finger and thumb of my left hand pinch the fake bowl, my second finger of my left hand can now touch the actual bowl, and look what you get. You get a nice little movement there, so it looks like the same spoon. That's a convincer. I call them convincers. Whenever you can convince somebody of something, it cements the effect in their head. It's going to be stronger when the spoon bends eventually. So I do that a couple wiggles first. And then slowly I bend, twist. I've experimented with lots of ways of doing this over the years when I was young. Of course, you can have a lighter in your pocket or a candle on the table, and you can make it appear to melt, and that's a very spooky effect. That always looks really good. The problem with that is the people at this table see this, and you're going to be going there next, so that's no good. So I screen that with my body now, and I'll just twist this way, and I'll always give it one little twist. That's just freaky enough. And then you move it back into position. Again, when I was young, I would break it off, and then the restoration looked like this. I would throw it and throw it again, and set it on the table. Well, that was flashy, but it was too flashy, really. They couldn't appreciate the effect. And on top of that, I've just exposed the gimmick. They know there's a separate piece, even though there was a restoration. I just didn't want that to be out there for them to see. I think this is weird enough. If the person at the table is 75 years old, I promise you, they've gone 75 years without seeing a spoon just melt and twist and restore right under their nose. And it's a very strong effect. So the restoration looks like this. I come back into the finger palm position. And as my hands come up here, what I do is I move the spoon from, in my view, 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock. I just move it like a switch as I come up. So that from here to here, and then I twist, I'll turn it, and I'll grab here and twist a few more times. Ha, hot, hot. And I'll set that on the table. I'll thumb palm this again, and that is it. Don't be in a hurry to ditch this. I know I don't wear a top it. You could top it at that point. Normally what I'll do at this point is pull out a deck of cards and offer to show a card trick, and I put the spoon piece under the box. As I take the cards out of the box, I'll put the box away, and that's when I ditch the spoon piece so everything looks clean. So that's the spoon bending routine that I've been doing for a long time. It's a great table trick. Hope you do it. This is a trick with a fork and a spoon. I'll put the fork over here and the spoon over here. I don't have my lighter. Normally I have a lighter that I would light and show you that the spoon changes into the fork and the fork changes into the spoon, but I'm not going to do that trick because I wanted to show you something else. I have other things I'd like to show you. Oh, hello. It's me, Dave. I was thinking about magic, as I often do, and I thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if you could make a spoon and fork change places? Not really, but I figured out a way. It's pretty simple. You use the same spoon gimmick you used during the bending spoon routine. And the fork, watch this, goes over top of the spoon. And this would be in a casual setting when they're not really paying close attention. Notice how the spoon is under the fork and the bowl of the spoon is in the finger palm of the left hand. That's so that when I put the fork in my other hand, I can add the bowl to the top, put the fork tines under my fingers, and it's a confusing enough image, they don't know which was which, so they believe that this is the spoon, and they believe this is the fork. It's a simple switch, so they're crisscrossed here, and they're not looking at your hands while you do this. You're talking to them, you have a little misdirection. Now, if they're wearing a jacket or if they have a pocket on their shirt, I'll put this in their pocket and tell them it's the fork. Right now, I'll just put it in my own pocket. But when I do it, I'll say, I'm going to put the fork in your pocket. And they accept that. They see the edge of it come out of their pocket. Because they're looking at the spoon right here, they have no reason to believe this is not their fork. The switch is so simple. I love it. I want to marry it. Here's what you do. You just pretend to put the spoon in your other hand. What you're really doing is hitting the edge of it, and the fork end swivels and goes into your hand. The spoon bowl stays right where it is. That's it. That's the transfer. So it looks like you're moving the spoon from this hand to that hand. Why are you moving the spoon to your other hand? Well, it's to get your lighter. You say, now watch, I have a lighter. So you tap here. They figure out that that's not where it is. You have motivation for putting it in your other hand. And now you reach in here, you pull out your lighter, and you leave the spoon behind. Again, you're clean, and the trick hasn't even started yet. That's a great place to be in as a magician. Everything is dumped. The trick is over as far as you're concerned. Nothing has even happened yet as far as they're concerned. What a wonderful position to be in. Now you can milk the moment. So I hold the flame here, and I'll move it back and forth. And if you want to use this pattern, you can, but I say, I'll say now, spoon me, and this is in their pocket, and I'll say, fork you. Remember, spoon me, fork you. And then you do the lighter, and you go, watch. And you reach into their pocket, spoon you, fork me. And that is that. I hope you don't get punched. Bye. We had a problem in the kitchen. We lost one of our best dishwashers. So I was wondering, Louisa, if you could do me a favor, audition. It's audition night. Could you clean the coffee cup? This is all about being thorough. And I put 10 years in the kitchen myself. I used to be a dishwasher in a Greek restaurant. I really was. It was one of the best times of my life. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Louisa. No, the saucer too. Saucer too. This cup and the saucer both, please.
In case I get on the board.
Put the saucer on top of the cup. Put the saucer, we're going to do it backwards. Wonderful. Now, Marcos, is there anything else on the table we can use? Is there any whipped cream or milk or maybe some tomatoes? Oh, salt. Good choice. Okay, we'll use that. We'll use a little bit of salt. Now, magicians are known to do tricks with 3 or 4 objects or 52 objects. I'm going to do a trick, a little miracle with 9,722 grains of salt. 9,722. Here we go. 1,000. I'm estimating, of course. 2,000, 3,000, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 700. 10, 20. 1, 2, 3. Oh, darn it. One too many. Louisa, I'm going to hand you this one. I want you to hold it, put it in your pocket for later identification, okay? Just to make sure it matches up with the others. Marcus, would you take the magic wand? Take the, oh, I forgot to bring out the magic wand. I have a magic wand right here. Take the magic wand. This is a magic wand. Take the magic wand, and I want you to wave it gingerly over the 9,722 grains of salt. Yes, watch. All 9,722 grains of salt vanish. What? Louisa, I'm going to ask you to hold the cup and the saucer together, not breaking the seal. If you could hold them at the same, yes, hold them together. That's, yeah. Yes, perfect. Why? Yes means, yes, perfect. And hold them high in the air, together, together. Up, 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 up. Perfect. Now, only the saucer. Up. Perfect. Over, down, over, cup, up, up, up. Slowly tipping the cup, slowly tipping and pouring, slowly tipping and pouring. Let's see if the magic is alive right here. Let's see if we got it. 9,721. 2 grains of salt. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Marcos and Louisa, thank you so much. Very nicely done. Let's see that other grain of salt you held in your pocket. Does it match? Yes. It's a perfect match. Look at that every time. I can't believe it. Thank you very much, folks. Let me get rid of this. This is one of my favorite tricks. It's, again, part of that top 5 tricks that I've been doing for many years, and I've done it in lots of situations. This was made up in conjunction with the great Bruce Allen from Dayton, Ohio. When we were young, we knocked about doing magic shows together and came up with several routines together, and this was one of them, one of my favorites. He had a completely different presentation using a table napkin. I use a cup and saucer, and it has served me well for over 30 years. Obviously, you need a thumb tip. Put it full of salt. Make sure there's room for your thumb, though. Okay. Now, this is hidden. When I was table hopping, I found a place to hide it, and it was right here in the belt line. So you have to do a double lift. What you do is you grab your pants and your underwear, right? You pull them both away from your body, and then you tuck in your shirt a little bit. And then you release just the underwear so that the shirt now goes between your pants and your underwear. So you've made a little pocket there with the elastic, and that's where the thumb tip goes. That's in that pocket so it can't fall further down. Why is that important? Well, I didn't figure that out when I was making the trick up. I figured that out weeks into performing it when I would walk from the first table to the second table after the trick and it had been ditched there in my pants. I go, hi, how are you? Would you like to, excuse me. Oh, would you like to see what, And they're going, no, we don't want to see what you have. So I made up this little idea with the shirt so it doesn't fall all the way down the pants, but it is accessible right there at the belt line. The thumb tip is hidden right there, and I'll show you how to steal it in just a second. So here's what not to do. Again, another lesson about just doing a trick for many years. This doesn't look anything like it looked when I first started doing it. It took years and years and years of getting caught, just not getting the proper reactions, to figure out the right things and the wrong things to do. For example, a wrong thing to do would be to say, hi, here's a trick with an empty cup and a salt shaker. Well, you've said the word empty. What's the opposite of empty? Full. And you've said salt. What's it going to be full of? Salt. Oh, salt's going to be in the cup, huh? Well, I'll just watch the cup and I won't blink. So don't telegraph what's going to happen by saying, here's an empty cup. Don't even say empty cup. What I say is, would you take your napkin and clean the cup? We're auditioning dishwashers. We just had another one quit on us today. Now look what I'm doing. This is a move that my father made up. He was a farmer in Greene County, Ohio. It's the old Bob Williamson pants hitch. Looks like that. Ah, yeah. So that's when I steal the thumb tip while they're cleaning the cup. It's right there on the thumb. I'll move it into a finger palm position like that. They always clean the cup inside and out. Now they know it's empty, but I haven't said the word empty. They always put the cup right back on the saucer because there's a little target, a place for it right there. As soon as I hear that cup hit that saucer, I know everything's going to be okay. That's my motivation now to move my hand towards the cup because I say to them, no, 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 clean the saucer too. So I have a reason to touch the cup because I want them to clean the saucer. If you have a reason to move that hand, they don't remember you moving it. If it's a motivated action, it disappears from their consciousness. It was a necessity. Clean the saucer too, both sides, and all you're doing is pouring the salt in the cup right there from finger palm. Look at that. Happens in an instant. There, it's done. You pour it all in. I just move that out of the way. Now it's important to step away from the cup. I don't touch it again. And the impression left with them is, I never touched it because I put some distance here. Clean both sides of the saucer. Do me a favor, put the saucer on top of the cup. Really? Yes. And they'll put the saucer on top of the cup. So they've just cleaned the cup, they've cleaned the saucer. There's no way anything could be inside as far as they're concerned. Now don't immediately go for the salt. Just because you've loaded salt in there doesn't mean that you have to make a beeline and say, here's a trick with salt. Say to them, now I want to try something interesting. It's a little experiment that doesn't always work. Sometimes I'll put my thumb back in the thumb tip while I'm gesturing, depending on how much time this takes. And you can easily finger palm it again just by bringing your hands together naturally like this in a gesture. But I'll say, do you have some applesauce or do you have any tomato juice? What do you have? Something that can pour. Water, that's too wet, with salt. And I'll just eventually have them pick the salt or I'll pick the salt. One way or the other, I end up picking the salt and it looks like it could have been anything. I don't want them to be left with the impression it had to be salt. Now, pour the salt in the hand, the same amount that was in there before. Don't fill it to the top, leave room for your thumb. In my presentation, I say, here's 9,722 grains of salt. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Anyway, 921, 22, oh, darn it, too many. Now, the best way to steal a thumb tip, in my opinion, when you have salt in it, is Salvano did a lecture in London years ago. Salvano was a great Polish manipulator. And he gave a lecture, and here's the way he did it. He would kick that thumb tip out the back of the hand. And this hand comes over, and it's so natural. I love it. I love things like this. It's perfectly natural to dust off a couple grains of salt from your hand. That's a good motivation for your hands to come together. And under cover of that, all you're doing is putting your thumb inside the thumb tip in this action, and then you move away naturally. So that's a great vanish of the thumb tip, or that's a great steal of the thumb tip. That's probably the best way to do it. That's not how I do it. I do what you're not supposed to do. I go in the top because Roger Klaus, one of my favorite magicians, he was a friend and a great teacher to me. He was a great student of Vernon and other magicians. He's no longer with us, but he showed me this many years ago at a Texas convention. It's so bold that I love it. You take your index finger and thumb and you go right into the top. You say, let me get 1 grain of salt. So I pretend to pour too much salt. 9,721, 22, 23. Oh, darn, too many here. You take this grain of salt and all you're doing is just putting the thumb tip on but you come out as if, whoa, that's not good. You come out as if you're holding a grain of salt and you give it to them. I'm pretty generous with my thumb when I have a thumb tip on. I don't try to hide it too much. I just stick it right in their face, point it right at them. And I'm always wiggling a thumb tip under people's noses because boy, if you feel too guilty about it, your hand is going to look cramped. I just relax and I just show it to them. They never see it. Now you're going to reach into your pocket and dump the thumb tip at the same time. You're going to put it back where you started. You could drop it into this breast pocket up here if it's a one-off performance, but I was table hopping. I had to go from table to table, and I didn't want to clean out my pocket every time. So the way I would do it is, as I'm getting my wand, I would reach under my jacket, stuff this in my belt, just stick my thumb tip right here, leave that behind, and then come up and grab the wand out of my pocket. And I'm in that wonderful position again that we talked about. You're done. You're reset for the next table, you're clean, and as far as they're concerned, nothing's happened. They're sitting there in front of an empty cup and you have a handful of salt. Fantastic position to be in. Let me just say one more thing about motivation. It would be a bad idea just to dart into your pocket and bring out the magic wand without them knowing why your hand moves first. I think it goes for any trick where your hand goes in your pocket, like a card and wallet. Don't just reach in there first and they know the reason you reached in there only after you bring the item out. You have to let them know what's going on first. So what I do is I say, take the magic wand, and they go, what magic wand? And I go, oh, let me get it. And that's why I'm reaching in my pocket. Because if you start digging around your pocket during a trick, their attendant goes up. They're wondering what's going on. They're starting to get suspicious. But if you say, oh, in my wallet I have something, they're not suspicious now. Or let me get a lighter. Where's that lighter? Oh, here it is. They're not suspicious. Let them know why you're going to the pocket before you move. General rule. Okay, now you have the wand, you've ditched the thumb tip. I have them wave the wand over my hand, and it would be easy to go, hey, look, boom, gone, ha, it's inside there. But you're in a great position. You might as well milk it and make it as magical as you possibly can. You can pretend to pour the salt from hand to hand. You can make it, you can do this, anything you want to do. But the salt slowly vanishes, all 9,722 grains of salt off into the ether. Wait a minute. Now, I made the mistake early on. I'd say, look in the cup. Now, because it's white on white, it's like black art, but it's like white art. They go like this. They go, I don't see anything. What's the big deal, Mr. Magic? There's nothing in there. That actually happened to me. So don't tell them to look in the cup because they won't see anything. What's in there? I can't see anything. So now I do this routine where I have them lift up the cup and the saucer together, and I instruct them to do this, and it's fun, and people at other tables are wondering what's going on, and it's just a wonderful applause cue when they see that. You're building anticipation, and that's the confirmation of the effect has happened. Nice applause cue. One of my favorite tricks. Hope you enjoy it.
Marcia describes you as a very positive person. Your state of mind is permanently not being afraid to fail. How do those things go on your professional work?
Well, that's a good question, huh? Well, I don't know. You know, my grandfather was a successful executive at a big cash register company in Dayton, NCR. And he always had this little, he was an optimist, and that's a society in America, the optimists, and they do good charity work and so forth. But he had a little plaque called the Optimist Creed, and it just talks about what an optimist is and an optimist point of view in life, you know. And so it's, you know, the difference between the glass is half empty and the glass is half full, and I've always been the glass is half full kind of thing, kind of guy. So you see the good in every situation, or you know there's some good in every situation, and whether it's in your personal life or professional life. So that's just kind of been ingrained into me by my mother and my grandfather. You know, they were optimists. They always saw the good in people. They always saw the good in life. In every situation, there's some good. You just have to find it. Sometimes you have to work a little harder, but it's there. So that's the general lesson that I've learned from my family, and then I've applied it, and I found it to be true in my work life too, you know. There's been times when I've been completely afraid to do something or to take a risk or wanted to turn down an opportunity or didn't want to bother or felt bad about something someone said or did, you know, but then you gotta go, you know what? I'm lucky to have my life, my health, my family. What could go wrong? What's the worst that could happen? It's worth the risk. No risk, no reward. So that's kind of been my attitude. And I'm assuming it's probably been your attitude too because of your success. You have to go forward. It's always moving forward. I always see my life as a boat, and the wake should be behind you. You know, all the worries behind you. Always move forward in every situation. Let's get through this situation as honestly as we can. Treat everyone as well as we can. Do the best you can with what you have. And my grandfather instilled that in me. If you're going to do something, do it right. Do it right the first time. Make the best of it and move forward. So that's kind of been my mantra, you know.
You need to be very positive to throw a cake on the MTV president.
You
and
have to be a
still
positive
hope that
person to
everything's going to
spill,
be.
yeah, to spill wine in the lap of the president of MTV. Yeah, it takes a special kind of mindset.
And he booked you for retaliating.
He booked me to get back at the person who hired me to do that to him. Jay Marshall years ago, I know what you're talking about. Jay Marshall years ago handed me a little pamphlet, and I love Jay Marshall. He's one of the old guys that I met at the conventions. Jay Marshall and Carol Fox and so many, you know, older men in magic. They were kind of my crazy uncles. Paul Diamond, the dealer, I loved him. Albert Goshman. These are all the guys I would meet at the Magi Fest, and just kind of I loved hanging around them because they were grown men. But they were a little bit silly, you know. I mean, we're all silly at magic to some extent. So I loved hanging around them. But anyway, Jay Marshall handed me a pamphlet and he goes, nobody's doing this anymore. You should be doing this. And it was called Soup's On, the Comedy Waiter Act. It was a slim little pamphlet about some gags that a guy used to do when he was hired to be a rude waiter at dinners. And he said back in the 50s, it was very popular in Chicago to be the rude, bad waiter. And you know, if you got punched in the nose or thrown in the pool, you were a success. Well, I didn't want to get punched in the nose. So I did take the idea and I turned it into a comedy magical waiter. And with the help of Bill Hers, we kind of booked this at several corporate events. MTV hired me once. Comedy Central, which was a comedy channel in the United States, their sister company was MTV Networks. And they were having their big annual dinner. And the Comedy Central guys hired me to be the waiter in the event. So I snuck in, I acted as one of the waiters, and they wanted me to make sure the pie landed in the lap of the president. Well, it did. That's what I was paid to do, and I was going to do it. Well, he loved it so much that he hired me to retaliate at one of their events, which I did. So.
What's the best and worst aspects of the corporate work, like what you...
Well, the best aspect is, of course, the money, and you know, you stay in a nice. There was a point in my life where I could have gone one of two directions: comedy club direction, which a lot of my friends were doing, working these comedy clubs, and you hone your act, and it's the shorter road to fame and fortune. You'll get seen by bookers, by television people. You'll hone this really great act, but the pay is horrible. You really pay your dues, and you stay in these horrible condos, and it's in a bar atmosphere, and you have to live with other comics, and it's a tough life on the road as a comic. The other way was the corporate route, with people like Paul Gertner were doing, and Bill Hers and others, and it wasn't as populated, and it was tougher to get into, but nice paycheck, you stay in nice hotels, you're done usually by 9 in the evening or 10 o'clock, and you can build a regular family life. You don't have to be on the road as much, and I chose that route. You're not going to be famous, and you're not going to be super rich at the end of the day, you know, if you hit stardom this way. You won't hit stardom, but you could raise a family, and you could have a life, and you could build a career. So that's the path I took. That's the good part. And the bad part, there are downs, obviously. There was a lot of travel. I was away from my family a lot. But also, just artistically, you know, there's a product they want you to deliver. You don't have the freedom to experiment like you would in a comedy club. So I think the growth is limited. And you're delivering a product to your client, and they want things done their way. They want their script. They want to hear their points. And so you're a vendor, basically. You're a vendor to this corporation, just like the other vendors that come in and service them. You're one of many vendors, and you deliver your product that helps them do what they do. But it was a good life, and I still do corporate events, and I enjoy them, yeah.
And your secret, has it always been keep an open mind for new opportunities? Like I remember you came to Portugal in 2000, and we talked about doing this series, the Willy in Portugal adventure.
Yes.
I said, yeah, let's do it. And we get in the car and we have no idea what we are going to do, and we end up with 13 episodes
Yeah.
done. You go to China, and after FISM in China, you become a star in China, doing tours everywhere and TV everywhere. Is that your normal state of mind, being always ready for the next opportunity?
Yeah, I don't say no to any opportunity. Some I do, but I don't think it's going to fit. But I was really afraid to come to Portugal. I didn't know what to expect when I came with you, and if knowing now, I wouldn't have come. But in the end, I'm glad I did. But we got in a car. He and I got in one car. Two-man camera crew got in the other car, and we drove all over this country. We would film from, I don't know, 6 a.m. until, what, 10 p.m.? And we would barge into places and restaurants and shopping malls and schools, and he would force me to go do things to people and come up with comedy bits. We had no writers. It was just you and me thinking of ideas. Let's try this, and we'd go do this. And then the work began at 10 o'clock when we get to the hotel, because this guy sits down with his 2 VCR decks, which somebody gave to you. I remember on the road, we walked into a place, you go, I want to go ahead and clock time code while we're, to save time when we get to the studio. We walk into an electronics store, and the guy goes, Luis de Matos, here, just take them. I remember that. You'll deny it, but it really happened. So, and then you set the TV, you have your own little editing suite in every hotel room every night. That took 2 hours to set up. And then we start clocking the best shots, time code, and maybe at 3 in the morning we fall asleep, or at least I do. Then at 6 o'clock in the morning, off to Porto, in the car. And we do this for, I don't know, 10 days? I don't know how many days we did it. I lost count. It was like a dream state after a while. But the genius part was, when we got back, was it in Lisbon where the studio was?
Yeah.
You walk into PTV, what was the name of it? It was
RTV.
RTV. He's got his list of shots. His 13 episodes were done in one day. Amazing. I learned a lot from you that week.
Well, I learned a lot from you. You were amazing. I don't know, Eric.
Well, you had me on horses and up trees and crawling through. I don't want to talk about it.
In keeping that open-minded, you just learned recently that you are now Mr. Disney Cruise Ship.
Mr. Disney Cruise Ship.
How does that relate to the previous experience?
I don't know. That's just me saying yes.
But you are happy because you are finding a new David Williamson in some way.
Absolutely, I love it. Yeah, because in the corporate world, I was, I saw myself in this kind of these were my abilities. This is what I could do. It was a little box there, and after the economic downturn over the world and in America, the corporate shows kind of started to dry up a little bit. And I was given an offer to go on a Disney cruise ship. And I said, I don't want to do, I did a cruise ship 25 years ago and I didn't really enjoy it. I had to call bingo and dance with old ladies and kind of old school and stay down below in a crummy crew cabins and didn't really like it. I didn't really like being on the ocean. And so I figured that was not for me. That's for guys who like doing that kind of thing. But economics forced me to say yes. And I'm glad I did, because I really enjoyed it, because on the Disney Cruise Line, it's different from the others. It's a different business model. Eventually, I'm in the big room now. I'm doing big shows for family audiences, completely unlike the corporate things I was doing. And I had this rack my brain. What material can I do? Because my little corporate club act wouldn't cut it for these big audiences who are looking to have a lot of fun. So I had to go back. And now, when I go to Blackpool this year, in previous years, I'd be overlooking at the card gimmicks and the wallets and the card books and the stuff that I thought where I belonged for years and the things that interested me. This year, I was over there with the paper hat tears and the folding wands, and I was just loving it. I was buying all kinds of, because I know the kids on the ship are going to love this. So to me, it's a second career again, and creative juices are flowing. I've had to work real hard to come up with routines that work for the
So how is one of the weeks that you spend on the cruise? You get in one port?
I get in, I come in halfway through the cruise, and I'll do a show for the adults, maybe in the lounge. I may do a 30-minute adult show. And then the next night I might do 2 big 45 to an hour show for the entire ship. We do 2 of those in their 2,500 seat theater, big, beautiful theater, and big, crazy, fun show. Then in the afternoons, I might teach a magic class, and I'm really loving teaching the magic class. And then I might do a little 10-minute spot in the farewell show, and people get off the ship, and then new people come on Saturday, and then I'll do the whole thing over again, and then fly home from whatever port we're in.
But before all this, you have been doing lots of TV in the UK, in China.
I've done a bit of TV here in Portugal. In Spain, I was on Juan's show. Tamariz had me come to his show. I'll tell you a funny story about that. He saw me at Fechter's. He was at the 4F convention one year, and I did a gag where I was doing the raccoon, and I threw the raccoon into the crowd, and they laugh, and they throw it back to me, and it fell on the floor behind the table. And I pull it up, and I'm holding the tail of the raccoon. I'm pulling, and I finally pull, and it turns out it's the ponytail of our friend from Japan, the dealer. Ton Onosaka, of course. It's Ton Onosaka smiling. Ooh, it turned out it was his ponytail, his famous ponytail. And everybody laughed. And Tamariz saw that and thought that was funny. So when I came to Spain to do his television show, he goes, let's do that gag where I'll be behind the table and you pull up my ponytail of the raccoon. I said, great. Well, it turns out that he had to get under the table before they let the audience in because it was in the middle of the stage and there was no opportunity for him to do it later. So he goes under the table. The audience comes in, that's a 45-minute process because you're in Spain and things take time, you know. And then it's another 20 minutes before they put me on, and I go on and I do my little act. It's maybe half an hour, and the last thing I do, so he's been under there an hour and a half almost at this point. And the last thing I do is drop the raccoon on the floor, and I grab the tail, and I'm pulling, and then whoop, up comes Juan, and everybody laughs and claps, and it was great. And then later I go under the table to get my raccoon, and I'm just thinking, what was he doing under that table so long? Under the table are 4 piles of cards with aces on top of each pile like this. So I knew he was perfectly happy for that hour and a half. He was not bothered at all. His quiet time to practice his card tricks, unbelievable.
So you mentioned 4Fs and TV, and I want you to share with us that time where, and we didn't mention his, for I know it's a big influence and a big friend as well. I would like you to share with us that time where you and Bill Malone have done everything you could to get thrown out of 4Fs.
You know.
What was the strategy?
The strategy was, we probably had a few drinks when we came up with this strategy. I'll just put that out there. Even though I don't drink anymore, there was a time where, and then we were at 4F, and I love Bill Malone, I still do. Funniest, he made me laugh harder than anybody, but we decided we wanted to get kicked out of Fechter's. What does it take to get kicked out of the Fechter's convention? So we would put stink bombs in people's cigarettes, you know, so that they, you know, we would yell at people and tell them rude things, you know, just heckle all the time. And the more we did, the harder these guys would laugh. And Obie O'Brien, you know, we would just yell things at him and say, no, Obie, screw you, we're out of, you know, and he'd just laugh and think that was so funny. And they would serve donuts upstairs, you know, in the wee hours of the morning. And we go up and we'd eat all the donuts and take a bite out of every one and smear chocolate on our face and jelly. And we'd come down and go, hey guys, there's donuts upstairs. You know, we'd ruin the whole, and they would laugh and think it was funny. And Obie finally came over, he goes, you guys are welcome here anytime. You never have to pay. And it's like, turns out you can't get kicked out of Fechter's apparently, so. But I want to say something about Obie O'Brien and Joe Stevens and Hank Morehouse and Don Tanner and Jep Hotstetler. Don Tanner ran the Magi Fest before I did, and Jep Hotstetler. These are the unsung heroes of magic. Now I know that they're counterparts in Europe. The guys who aren't necessarily professional performers, they're probably dealers for the most part sometimes, but these are guys that put the energy into putting these festivals together. Okay, some of them make a buck, some of them don't make a buck, doesn't matter. There's no way you could make enough money to justify how hard these guys work and their goodwill towards young magicians. And these are the guys who made opportunities for me. So you think about it, you know, I never made any money working magic conventions. They don't pay a lot, they don't, but there's always these guys who are friends of the art, patrons, you know, who bring magicians in so I just wanted to put a shout out to guys like Obie O'Brien and Hank Morehouse, who we lost recently, and people like that, and who helped young magicians and old magicians alike by putting these festivals together. I know how much work it is to do, and it's kind of a thankless job sometimes. But without these guys throughout the history of magic, I would never have met you. We would just be out there floating alone, like other art forms, you know, like comics and so forth. I guess they have club owners, but those guys are rotten people. But these are the guys who bring magicians together and help our careers and help us, you know, in the art. So, anyway.
One of those mythical gatherings is the International Day by Ron Macmillan family. Yep. And just recently, an amazing moment took place where you finally got to know a grown-up version of the irritating kid called Murray that screw your career in a way.
I always say he was the best thing and the worst thing that ever happened to me in magic. This 6-year-old kid, I wanted to kill him. No, it was, so I was on this cruise ship I was telling you about that I didn't like, but it was a magic cruise, so I was having fun. Rudy Kobe was on there, Jeff Hobson, Billy McComb, a lot of other people, and John Fisher was on there, more importantly. John Fisher watched our little antics and said, I think I can put a show together, and he did. He made a show called Comedy Magic Strip, and it was me and Rudy Kobe and Jeff Hobson. Pendragon was on a lot of it, and so it was a fun show, young American magicians acting stupid, and he needed a card trick for one of the, I want a card trick that looks good up close, and I said, I have an idea. And I had a special card flown in for my friend Gary Plant's special gimmick card, and the kid ruined the trick, as you see on the film clip. 20 years later, I said to Noel Britton, who was booking the International Day, wouldn't it be fun if we could find Murray and have a little reunion? He said, well, I'll make a few phone calls, and he did, and he found Murray, who was only living a mile away from the venue, it turns out. And we had this great reunion. It was fun. John Archer stuffing a sandwich in his face while we switched the card behind his back. Classic.
And you keep getting checks from that
Yeah, for years I got checks from England because they would always have these blooper shows, you know. Things go wrong with when a kid topped, you know, and $50, $100, you know. It was great. Okay, thank you. Can't believe you asked me that.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. And if I haver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's havering to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I drove, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing old to you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be a man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at you too. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be a man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at you too. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be a man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at you too. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing older than you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down that chute door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down that chute door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down that chute door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing older than you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down that chute door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down that chute door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I don't, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at you too. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I don't, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at you too. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I don't, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at you too. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm walking, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who's working hard for you. And when the money comes in for the work I do, I'll pass almost every penny on to you. When I come home, oh, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home to you. And if I broke, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's growing over you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door. When I'm lonely, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who's lonely without you. And when I'm dreaming, well, I know I'm gonna dream about the time when I'm with you. When I go out, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. And when I come home, yes, I know I'm gonna be the man who comes back home with you. I'm gonna be the man who's coming home with you. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more just to be the man who walks 1,000 miles to fall down at your door.
got to be in here somewhere.
No, David, no.
Já chega.
Do this.
Já chega.
I should have posted.
Cada carta agora, cada carta.
Look, watch. No,
Veja o que ele vai fazer. Veja o que ele vai fazer. Olhe para ele.
Push it. Get over here where you can get a good angle. Over here. Do it for the camera. Do it for the camera.
Eu vou estar lá fora.
Olha o que ele vai fazer. Viu ele a levitar-se sozinho?
¿Quieres levitar?
Carta, cada carta.
Diz que é. Ok.
Okay,
Ready?
here we go.
Yeah.
Down to my feet.
Ok.
Okay, cut.
I'm closing. Ok. Rolling. That's good. That's good.
Now I like
Fall down again. Fall down again.
What do you tell me to fall down for?
Ok. Cut.
When you get here, Wait, we have to establish the picture.
Ok, action.
Like you're interested in doing these, like. Keep it rolling, keep it rolling, keep it rolling.
And now morphing.
Okay.
Then they cost me, I have my shirt at home. That's the rest of them. Oh, yeah. Rolling. Okay. Okay, Dave.
You can look.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I'm taping. I'm saying. Rolling.
We're rolling.
Okay, what's this?
Okay, Eugene. Oh, good. This is good. It's a little natural. Say, oh, Luis. How are you? Yeah, David, come on now.
Well, I can.
David, David.
Luis, I got a problem with this photo.
And Nick, come on out, but act like you don't. You just have to see it. Oh, that's
Hey, Louis,
okay, Chris.
I just want to know.
David. Everybody else.
I don't understand how this goes.
Ok, pode entrar. Rápido. Ok, pode passar ali no balcão. Entra no fio. Turn around. Okay, open the door, please.
I'm fired, aren't I? You're the fantasy girl. Turn around again, like, oh, I'm in the, just taking a shower, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good. That's it, that's it.
Okay. And
Start
soaking?
turning now, start
Okay,
turning now.
you can turn.
Okay, that's enough.
Okay, rolling. A little more, yeah, a little more. That's great.
Oh, take those off.